Hello everyone, Terita here. Today I'm coming to you with a very different format of video, and that is not just a reaction but a video essay on my experience watching UKNOW Yunho's first solo concert called Project 26 Scene Number 1. And I hope that you enjoy this type of format. It's something very new for me, and I hope that you grab a beverage, relax, have a snack, and let's talk about Project 26 together. So let's do it. To summarize Project 26, in like one sentence, I would say that both Yuno's formative past and his future desires come together to help present-day Yunho reach Nexus. And Nexus is a place where all things are possible. If I can sum up Project 26 in the concert in 3 words, I would say high production value. From the live band, which I found was like one of my favorite additions to a concert experience, especially a K-pop concert. The dancers, the choreography, the songs that he selected, the costuming, the set design, the pyrotechnics, the light show, and lots of confetti. I found that this concert wasn't a concert at all, but quite an immersive experience. He wanted us to dance with him, to sing with him, and throughout the 3 nights he also chose fans through a letter to sing to. So that was a very intimate addition to this already overwhelming passion project that created. Now, for my experience, I watched this concert, or I experienced this concert 3 times. Originally, I was only supposed to be there for 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday, but a friend of mine persuaded me to go on Friday, and due to a venue change because of unforeseen circumstances, the pro for me was I was able to see the concert 3 times, but unfortunately for Yunho and the whole entire team, their concept, their original stage direction and actual stage got changed last minute, and it's unfortunate that we weren't able to see the original design or the original vision. But I hope that with the encore next year, God willing, we get to actually see Project 26 encore in the way that always wanted us to see it. First night, Friday, I was on the 3rd floor. So I had, I would say the pro for being on the 3rd floor or the 3rd level was the fact that I got to see, have a bird's eye view of the actual production on stage. I saw the set design, which in the background, he actually had like a 3-level apartment setup that he used in the concert, and you can actually see the live band. It was wonderful just to sit back as an audience member and just look and experience it visually. Also, for me personally, during the dance part, I was able to stand up and enjoy myself because 3rd level was a bit empty, so I could move and groove, and when Complicated came on, I could swing my light stick as big as I want and yell as loud as I want and sing how loud I could possibly sing during the concert. So I'd say that was the pro. Now the con was, even though Project 26 is an immersive experience. I felt left out. I was way high in the scaffold and looking down when Yuno was walking through the audience. I have to like go over the balcony and see what's going on. So that was one of the issues that I did have. I felt like I was separated from the actual experience. So on the second night, I was VIP arena floor, and it was an immersive experience. I was up close and personal with the stage. I was able to go to the talk afterwards, the after show talk for the VIP afterwards. But for the concert, I was there. I experienced everything Yuno wanted to display in this concert. And what he wanted to display was his like use of confetti. The amount of times that confetti cannon went off, I think it was like every five songs there was like confetti. And there was confetti all over my hair. There was confetti all over my body. When I got home, there was confetti where I had clothes on, but when I took it off, there was a whole lot of confetti. So he was going in on the confetti. Now the con for being on the arena floor, there are two cons for me personally. One was in certain areas you can't see parts of the set. So the apartment set on the first night I could actually see. On the second night it was cut off, and that wasn't really due to how he designed it or how his team designed it. It was more about where the concert was, because again, this was a last minute decision. Thankfully, because we weren't even supposed to have the concert. How things were happening, they could have canceled, but he really wanted to do the concert, and I was so grateful. So, but there were drawbacks to the set, unfortunately. Another con that I felt, and it has nothing to do with production, had to do with just us as an audience, like the evolution of how we view concerts or experience concerts has changed in the past 10 years. People are now putting their phones or recording the concert, and the energy of being in the arena where I expected people were to dance and really enjoy and scream was limited, because everyone wanted a clear video image of the performance. And I have no qualms. I have nothing against people taking like couple videos, because I was doing like the same thing too. But having to be around people who are just there just taking videos really limited me in enjoying myself. I felt kind of like I can't move because I don't want somebody's video to get disrupted because of me being crazy or me screaming too loud or something like that. So I felt like I couldn't be as expressive as I wanted to during the concert. So I think that was a con for me. Third night's experience, I was on the second floor, and I found that this was my favorite view of the concert. You get the immersive experience. You get him coming and performing and waving to us in the stand. You get a great view of the stage depending on where you are, because I was center stage. So I don't think I had a negative. I don't have any cons for being in the second floor. And if I were to go next year for the encore, I would personally take second floor if it's the same way as it was for this concert. Project 26 is a sci-fi musical drama in a classic 5-act play. And it's about Yuno and his journey through his life and career as an artist. And it truly solidified why people call him the philosopher of the stage. There are 3 characters in this story. Time traveler Yunho, which I'm going to be calling Time Lord Yuno. Present day Yunho, and also young Yunho. And young Yunho is played by a beautiful, passionate young boy by the name of Shiho. In the story, both Time Lord Yuno and young Yunho come together to help present day Yunho go through series of tests in order for him to reach Nexus. And again, Nexus is a place where dreams come true, where all things are possible. And it goes right into what is Project 26 and what is Nexus. So in the story of Project 26, scene number 1, we find out that Project 26 is actually a vertical city in the heart of an uninhabitable or desolate post-apocalyptic Earth. It is called the Second Tower of Babel. And in order for you to reach the highest level, the people, or that highest level is called Nexus, you have to go through a series of tests. So time and the concept of timing in Project 26 is quite peculiar. In the concert, the actual concert experience, if we were to get a recording of that concert, I would say that we as the audience members can follow the time watch the concert from the beginning to end. But also, if you wanted to, just for fun, you can watch the concert from the end to the beginning. And that really goes with that concept of the loop that first introduced to us in the album I Know. So he really delved into, again, telling us that time isn't linear, and also time can be experienced by everyone, or yourself. Your past self, your future self, and your present self can experience the same thing that's going on at the same time. So he was going into lots of theory, the theory of relativity, block theory when it comes to physics. And I'm telling you, the man and his team, they're very, very smart. So that's where that sci-fi element is very important to the storyline of Project 26. In Act 1, we are introduced to 2 of our 3 main characters, Young Yuno and Time Lord Yuno. Now, they don't interact in the VCR. They are just crossing paths. And it just shows like a confirmation that this is a loop. Young Yuno is holding a red disc where he inserts to get into an elevator, while Time Lord Yuno goes to a big clock, and we see that he can use that clock, I believe, to go to various points of time in Yunho's life. Now, does he manipulate or speak with Yuno? I don't think so, because in the theory of, or the block theory of physics, you cannot change time. You can observe it. You can time travel, but you cannot change actual time or change experiences. So it negates that he can manipulate any point of his life. Now, on the stage, in the concert, we are also introduced to Time Lord Yuno in his song, Time Machine, where he is actually in a time machine. It was a very cool way to introduce the concert. The time machine is very sophisticated. It's plain, but it's not. It's quite powerful. And the song used really was very fun and catchy. The songs used in the first act of the show, we see that they confirm that this is the ultimate dream of what Yunho wants to be as an entertainer. He is seen as very established and mature and confident. It is a combination, I feel, really expressing Yunho's potential to being a great artist, plus his youthful desire and dreams that he's always had since he was a child. And it served as a great melding of who he feels as if this is where I want to be. It's not saying this is me now, but this is where I want to be. And that is confirmed with his use of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is one of Yunho's idols. He has once says that he wants to be just as, his dream is to be just as influential as Michael Jackson. And he does have lots of Michael elements in this section of Project 26 in the first act. From the costume, that very regal monarch king type of dress. He even said that Set in Stone was the BPM, the beats per minute, was changed to fit very much a Michael Jackson tempo. He also included a Michael Jackson song by the name of Jam. He incorporated it in a mix that he did with Complicated, Swing, and Jam. So we see that Michael Jackson is very important in why Yunho is an artist today. In Act 1, this is when I knew that this concert experience was not going to be a regular concert experience. He warned us a week prior. He gave us a video tutorial on choreography for Complicated. And he says, you guys need to learn this by the time we have this concert. And he's like, and he showed us this windmill-like motion. I was like, hold on, how are we going to do this in the arena when I'm going to have limited space? He's like, I don't care. Y'all better do it, and you better be expressive. So I was ready with the choreography during that whole entire part. He's like, are you guys ready? You better stand up. And then he told us to dance, and I was like, yes, this is different. This is really different. And this is when you knew that, hey, we are a part of this journey with him. And it just confirms it throughout the whole entire concert that, something's up. And you just start questioning what is going on, especially in the VCR. My favorite song in the first act has to be Drop. And lyrically alone, it's a story about my generation and the future generations inheriting a desolate earth. It tells about the corruption of politics and the environment, and how that we inherited not what we were supposed to inherit, which was wealth from the older generation, but we must rise from the ashes, so to speak, and create a brighter future through the terrible world that we have inherited. The lyrics are intense. The performance done by Yunho and Shiho is very impactful, and using Drop as the introduction that Shiho is going to be performing was great. In Act 2, we see Yunho sitting in a leather chair in front of a television in a very white room. He is spoken to by his AI guide named Sarah. Sarah was the AI program that he used in Nexus. Sarah tells him that in order for him to achieve Nexus, he must pass several stages. In order to transition to a stage, he has to go through a television. So you can see that the television is going to be used throughout the VCR as a transitional device. But there's another reason for the television, and we see it in the end. Now, the first stage that Yunho goes through is a subway station. And you can see that the director of photography really used color to display certain emotions. We see inside the subway station that the colors are muted. They're quite cold. They're metallic. It's seen as just a device, a machine, okay? And what stands out in the scenes in the subway station is Yunho himself. He is wearing red. Now, red holds a significant importance in Yunho's life. Red is the color of TVXQ. He uses red in Japan as well for his personal color in performance. We can see that red could also be used as a way of showing that Yunho is very passionate. Red is a fiery color. When you see it, you think of passion. So having that contrast between the red and the muted colors shows an act of rebellion. And we see that rebellion in his fight with the men in black suits. So we have the cold atmosphere and the men in black. We can say that the men and that coldness of the subway station is the music industry system. So he is essentially fighting against the system. And that system could represent like conformity, the industry standards. It can also represent jealousy and haters in a sense. And he is going against those types of elements. Another thing that I found very interesting was the fact that he was wearing a t-shirt underneath this red leather outfit. And on the t-shirt, it had a band by the name of The Who. Now, The Who is known for being a rock opera rock group. And rock opera is a type of genre that is narrative based. The performances and the music on their album are used to tell a narrative. They're seen as a literary device. So it was quite interesting that Yunho wore The Who on his t-shirt because, in a sense, Yunho is making a pop opera. And it goes against what industry pop music formula does. So he is rebelling against the system as well. So he's wearing this pop. So in a sense, he is creating a pop opera with Project 26. So after Yunho has done fighting with the system, he is then, by use of the transitional device of the television, he is transitioned into another level. And in this level, we see that he is in a very dark room, and all that you can see are several spotlights that give him a path. One thing that Yunho does is stares at the camera. After he is done fighting, he has his jacket off. He takes his jacket off and he holds it for a bit And then he looks and drops his jacket. It felt eerie because it was done all in silence. And even the audience was quite uneasy when he stared at us. It was like a standoff. You could hear like nervous laughter in the background because we honestly didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to do. But I feel as if, and this is my personal opinion, he was telling us or asking us, I just fought a battle with the system. I just fought against people who told me that I couldn't do something. Now, do you as the audience want to dictate to me who I am? Because he's wearing the Who shirt. It's like, I know who I am, but do you want to tell me who I am? And he does it in a defiant nature, and it just shows his stubbornness, saying that no one has the right to tell me who I am except me. If I could describe Act 2, I would say that Act 2 is about self-reflection. I felt that it was about longing, and it was about grieving. And that grieving can be felt in the song that I really enjoyed in Act 2, and that was An Ordinary Story. In my opinion, An Ordinary Story is about the universal feeling or the emotion of grief, and how grieving affects us all in various ways. Yes, this is a romantic song about a romance that was never fulfilled. And we can take it at face value that it is a romantic song. But I thought An Ordinary Story was truly about, grieving a life that never was. An ordinary life, an ordinary situation that he feels everyone goes through. And this song to me was very emotional, and his performance of this song was a way of saying goodbye. And I think it's like the goodbye to the life that never was. The second song that I found to be so beautiful in the second act was Yunho's performance of Spotlight. Spotlight is seen as a very lonely song. It's about a showman who performs in the spotlight, and then off the stage, his life is dark. But in this performance, it seemed to be very uplifting. We see him perform with Shio, and they're wearing the same outfit, and it was as if he was telling him, his younger self, to keep going, to keep moving forward. This is what you wanted. It was also an act, this performance was an act to say, I should be grateful for where I am today. Because he uses a montage of himself in his younger days. And with the use of the montage, we see that he is trying to forgive himself for ever resenting ever being in the spotlight. Because this is what he wanted. And another thing, the reason why I feel he used Shiho in this performance is because he is taking care of himself. He is encouraging himself, both in the story but in real life. If I was watching the behind the scenes footage, and the way that he dotes upon Shiho and encourages Shiho and gives him advice, and how Shiho calls him uncle, you can see that Shiho has a it has made an impression, an impact on Yunho's life. And for Yunho, Shio is him, and he's able to again reparent himself and be the encourager that he always wanted to have. I was wondering, why did Yunho specifically find a 4th grader to perform him? Because he could have made a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old be the young Yunho. And I think the reason why he specifically was looking for such a young child, like around 8-9 years old, is because that age represents pure, raw enthusiasm. It is clumsy. It is not perfected. It is not criticized. It's not critical. That age is the best age for him to present to the audience, because that is his purest form. In the next act, we see, in act number 3, I will call the train. We see young Yunho on a train. And we can say that this is the train of life, because in a sense, Yunho is trying to tell us that yes, future Yunho is here, and he is going over his life and going to many points in his life and observing. And it just goes to show you that even if you have accomplished a goal, it's never truly about the goal. It's about the journey, life's journey itself. It's about the lessons that we are learning throughout our lifetime. And so again, we see young Yunho on a train. Future Yunho hands him a pocket watch, and automatically it changed to what we believe is present day Yunho. And Yunho is on the journey, and the train stops, and it stops in front of a very lavish hotel. And we can see that, and we believe that the symbol of the hotel is the fulfillment of the dream. The limelight, the luxury, the opulence. And he is greeted by a bellman. The bellman hands him his key. He enters this glorious suite. He indulges in various foods, and he's around very fancy people, and he's just enjoying himself. And he's like, wow, this is, I'm poolside, I get drinks, and it's fun. And he's living his life in luxury. But then the scenes starts to drag on, and we see with the use of the symbol of the calendar, days go by, the food starts not tasting as good. He's tired of just resting. How many times does he have to lie in the same bed? How many times does he have to go to the same library, same pool? It's just, he expresses himself in a very frustrated way, and he's getting tired. Until one day, he starts eating food, and he's just chewing away, and it doesn't taste right. And he looks down, and it's maggot infested. The people that were seen as very luxurious, famous, high-class people, their faces become distorted, and he's realizing something is off. This is not a vacation. He is in another level. And in this level, he has realized overindulgence and just too much of a good thing is really bad. And that overindulgence leads to laziness. It leads to complacency. It leads to stagnation. And he's just like, I need to stop. And then he's back in front of the television. And Sarah comes on, he's like, oh, you just passed another level. you just realize through self-reflection, because we see a mirror, that something needs to change. You can't stay in this level for the rest of your life, even though many do. It's time for you to evolve. I would say the performances in this act were highlights of Yunho's darker songs in his catalog, and it also marked the separation between on stage Yunho and the regular normal guy Yunho. And all the songs except for at the end, I believe, Bujade, were his very heavy songs. It showed the darkness of fame through songs like City Lights and Tarantino, which was like one of the crowd's favorites, and also the more popular Thank You, using the criticisms of others to level up. And while the songs were quite heavy at the beginning, my favorite song in this act was Vujade. Vujade symbolizes Yunho's stance as a showman. It is circus-like. It is very high performance, high intensity. The arrangement alone of this performance of Vujade was impeccable. It had that big band sound. It had the brassiness. It had the celebratory dancing. It was just a circus. And he even had like this acrobatic type move where he jumps off of a platform and like this high stakes conclusion of the song. And it was so fun, and the confetti was going all over the place, the fireworks were going everywhere. He was just having a ball, and I feel as if this was how Yunho always wanted Vujade to be. And if he had enough money, if he had more money, he would have had more acrobatics, he would have had flamethrowers, he would have had like the Russian circus, Cirque du Soleil, everybody up in that performance. And I would accept it because it was that amazing. So that was a fun song indeed. I think that's where we got most of the confetti. This act, Act 4, was or is where Yunho establishes his career as an entertainer. And he uses a motorcycle race to depict how he is supposed to become this artist. And in the motorcycle race, we see that he's having a hard time going against his opponents, having a hard time separating himself from others. And Sarah is saying, you only have 10% chance of winning this race if you go this way. Oh, if you do this, your chances will be 0% and you're gonna die. So we see that he's playing by the rules and he's not getting anywhere. And it's not until he goes against the rule and he makes his own path that his chances for winning increases. 88%, 89%, up until like 98, 99%, until he actually wins. Now, before we see that he wins, he crashes and dies and then we then figure out through a television screen that he's been playing a game all along. And it has like a game over screen. Do you want to continue? Yes or no? And it is us, the audience members, who are saying yes, yes, yes. And young Yunho presses yes. And this is when I was like, the TV. What does this TV represent? This is what I realized, the TV represented us, the fans. His fans were always there watching him perform. They were always there encouraging him. We were always there throughout his transition as an artist. And he is telling us and giving us our thank you for always being there, because he knows that without his fans, his career as an artist ceases to exist. Now, again, I was talking about how color is very important in Project 26. Now that we've seen that we are in a video game, that Yunho is in a video game that is being played by young Yunho, and we see in the screen that it's green. Green holds a very important message or meaning. Green is seen as a color for self-awareness. Without self-awareness, Yunho could never have made this project. This project is very self-exploratory, and it could never have been made earlier in his life. Now that we have established that young Yunho has been playing a game all this while, Yunho meets young Yunho, and with the disc in hand after he has won the race, and he goes to the television and he puts the disc in the TV, and the whole entire place is red. And we can see that in order for him to go into Nexus, he has to be true to himself. He has to be authentic. He has to be real. And I think that's what the red really symbolizes, acknowledging that only through him being himself he can go to this next level. Act 5 is a wonderful way to end Project 26. It ended it on a light note. Because the story is quite heavy and dark in nature, to end it on such a high, a fun, energetic high, was a great idea with the storytelling of Project 26. Before we go into the actual performance, we are transitioned into younger Yunho playing the video game. And he is having a conversation with his mother, who is played by Super Junior's Shindong. And Yunho goes about having a conversation where mom is pleading with him to stop playing the video games and come down for dinner. He's saying he doesn't want any dinner. Who wants to eat dinner when you can play video games? And he goes through various memes that he's very popular for. And it just shows that he has accepted his title as the meme king. There are various memes about him, and it goes to show you that Yunho doesn't take himself too seriously. Yes, he is very passionate, but he's also a regular guy. He can laugh at himself, and we see that in the VCR. Also, this was another part of the the immersion experience that we as the viewers were able to participate in. With the use of the immersion workout style YouTube videos, he allows us to enjoy ourselves by doing various moves and having pictures, various pictures pop up that relates to the moves that we were doing, like fanning or like dancing. It was very cute. And then we have the performance where he comes out with 4 of his dancers, and it was as if this was saying, this is me when I started my career, and I'm in this 5-member group called TVXQ. And in the performance where he comes out with the dancer, he then like interacts with the audience, and this is where like people in the second floor were able to like see him closer, and he's having a great time. And it just shows how youthful he wanted to show this act. Like, this is my time where everything is open to, I'm open to any possibility. Life is great. This is my takeoff. This is where I'm starting. This is fun. This is new. This is grand. And then the concert ends with one of my favorite songs in Act 2, not in Act 2, in Act 5, and that is Spotlight 2. Spotlight 2 is a very lighter song compared to the first Spotlight. Spotlight 2 is about him not only being under a spotlight when he's on the stage, but being a spotlight towards his fans, and his fans being a spotlight towards him. It shows this symbiotic relationship that he has with his fans. It's telling the fans, thank you for always being there. Thank you for being my friends. His name for his fans for his solo work is Real Friends. Jinchin. Jinchin means real friends in Korean, and he calls us that. And in a sense, yes, he is our spotlight and we are his spotlight. He tries his best to connect with us in various ways and tell us thank you, and he shows his appreciation towards us, and he did in performing such a wonderful piece of art. And this Project 26 was amazing. And it was a dream come true for not only him, but for us, because we always wanted to see him express himself fully. And it was just awesome. For 3 days, I was able to actually experience that. And I appreciated just being there. Project 26 also really solidified Yuno's personality for me. It just reminded me that this man is, yes, he's very passionate, but he's very complex. He's very determined. He has like a fun side and a sexy side and even a dark side, and it just shows you how much of a multifaceted person he is. Yes, he is a person. He's a regular man, but he's also a showman. He's a philosopher. He's an inventor. It's really, really cool that he's able to express all those parts of him in this autobiographical concert experience. So I now, what's next, right? Next is he's now doing his tour in Asia, but at the end of the year he is then going to be doing his Japan tour of Project 26, The Edit, and I'm totally looking forward to that performance. I'm gonna be there for one of his Nagoya performances during the week of my birthday, which is just incredible. It's just gonna be like a birthday celebration for me, so I'm really excited for that. What I'm looking forward to If I could request a song, I would say there's two songs that I really want to see perform. The first song is one of my favorites, which is T-Style. I love it. It's so sophisticated. It's very posh. It's very cool. I just love that song. And the second song that I would love to see performed live would be Burning Down with the original belt choreography. So if you know what I'm talking about. So I hope that he gets to perform either one of those. Like, I'd be like the happiest girl in the world. Also, so now that we know officially that Yuno is doing Project 26 scene number 2, but also before that, the official encore production of Project 26 scene number 1 in the spring of next year. I hope that he goes further into various storylines. There's so many things that he can discuss and explore with his life. Like, I really want to see him discuss things, especially like even with the Japan production. I want to see how he presents the loneliness that he had to face when it came to living in Japan and learning Japanese and becoming part of this really incredible movement, which is Toho Shinki in Japan. And another thing that I want him to really focus on is about, we see the separation of various parts of in Project 26, but what about the integration, the melding of those personalities into one? I feel as if that I think instead of seeing them as separate individuals, I want him to combine those individuals into one in a very raw way. I would find that to be so intriguing. Another thing that I really want him to go through and explore would be just the dark side of the parasocial relationship we have with him. In scene number 1, we see the brighter thanking us, his fans, and having that relationship with us in scene number 1. But what about the darkness? Maybe like in the form of how he is not seen as human, but seen as an object, seen as an idol. That would be very interesting to explore. And maybe through generative AI, the issues of the negatives of AI, and especially generative AI, where your likeness, your image can be manipulated and used for selfish reasons, indulgent reasons. That would be very interesting to see. There's so many things that he can do with Project 26 scene number 2, or whatever he wants. But wherever his story takes him, I'm down for the ride. Again, it's not about the goal; it's about the journey, and I'm gonna be there on that train for this journey. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I don't know if there's anything coming up anytime soon, but I will see you next time, and I really appreciate you hanging out with me. So again, comment down below what you thought about Project 26 scene number 1. Tell me your opinions. I love reading them, and I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.